Sup, Nick? How you doing? What's going on, Steve? Glad you're here today. Who in the... Sup, everybody? It's a good boy David right here. And today we'll be reviewing the new for 2023 THD 3000, or as his code name is, and I'll be referring to him from now on, Cold Hate Animatronic. So, a bit of background on how I got this guy. I got him for $140. Not bad, especially considering, you know, how absolutely massive he is. If Steve isn't any indicator, well, I mean, come on. And an animatronic of this detail and movement. Yeah, I'd say 140 is a pretty decent price. But, yeah, so I'll be going over what I like about him, what I don't, and then I'll give a final rating, as I did with Steve and Nick. So, here we go. This is gonna take a bit, because I have a lot to say about this guy. So first thing I want to get out of the way is just his size. He is actually massive. I have 8-foot ceilings. This guy is 7 feet tall. I thought he was decently big, and he took up a bit of space because of the flamethrower, but nope, Cold Hate, a big soul. His hand is, like, decently big. I mean, like, man. SVI was tweaking when they made this thing. Alright, now I can get on to one of my favorite things that I love to cover about animatronics, and that is character. Excellent character. Like, genuinely one of the scariest looking animatronics that I think has released this year, in my honest opinion. At first you're like, oh, but he's like super cool, you know, he's got the awesome sword arm and the chest, and oh my god, he's like the Terminator. Until you look down. Until you're like below him. And hold on, let me put... Does that scare you enough? Does this terrify you enough? Like at night, the 7-foot tall cyborg guy, and he's just like staring you down, dead stare in his eye. There's no soul behind them. Are you scared? I was kind of afraid when I first heard that SVI was making like a cyborg animatronic. I was like, oh, he looks sick, but like, SVI's kind of iffy when it comes to like characters that are benevolent, kind of complacent almost, and don't really have a purpose except to scare you. But they nailed it surprisingly. I thought he was gonna laugh a lot in his phrases because, you know, he's SVI, but he only laughs in one phrase, and even then it's barely a laugh. He like scoffs, but then it buffers so it sounds like a laugh, and then that's incredible. He's just very intimidating, not only in his looks and his height, but in his phrases too, because his audio is booming. Like, even over Exterminator, he has the loudest audio out of all of these guys that I have here. And that very much is a good thing, because he has this dominating presence that surrounds him, this unmatched menace that I really have not seen in an animatronic in a while. The threats that he makes at you is definitely a good factor to his creepiness, because he's like, he's not threatening to kill you, he's saying it in like a very apt way, like, I'm going to delete you or something. And when he's not saying he's gonna delete you, he's saying he's going to embed you into the system and assimilate you. Huh? And given the gruesome display behind that message, you know, cavity in his chest, there's a metal skeleton stuffed inside him. You know, he's just fake. He's not human. Anymore, at least. Like, look at this hand. This belongs to a person, right? You'd be horribly mistaken. His design is also masterful. What I think they were trying to go for was, like, he got hit by, like, some sort of bomb or something, and it blew off a good chunk of his body, which knocked out one of his eyes, burned all of his skin off on one side, and, like, you know, tatter the cloak. His cape is almost gone on one side. And, like, the fire started doing a bit more damage. Even at the bottom of the cloak, you can see it's very, like, singed almost, which is a good detail. So I like that SVI put this complex, like, almost backstory behind him as you look at him. Like, okay, you could take in all the details, but then you start to think of it when you look at him a bit more. It's like, okay, this might be, like, battle damage, burn damage right here. Oh, I get it now. He's a war criminal. Next is animation. Do I even need to say? Now, while there's servo animatronics like Grimm and Strawman and Servo Crone, where they move their torsos and wave their arms up and down and like that, Cold Hate is very static in a way. Like there's honestly not much thought going on behind what he's doing, but that fits perfectly for his character. So basically he's got a universal eye mechanism, a blinking mechanism that also squints, which I think is a nice detail, a mouth motor as he moves his mouth, 3-axis servo, which for some reason the up and down servo on mine isn't working at the moment. I'll have to look into that, but yeah, he's supposed to have that. And both of his arms go up and down. Yeah, it's just very complex, and it definitely adds to this, again, this really creepy, uncanny vibe to him. Like, he's trying to look human, but, like, he's just failing, ultimately. Now, his quality is, like, top-notch, I gotta say. Now, from Steve, I already covered Steve. His quality is pretty good. You know, there's barely any hiccups in his quality, there's barely any issues, welding issues. Cold Hate is like that, but like Sevenfold. His build is like very, very sturdy. And I think the only like issue like build-wise that I have currently is the fact that I don't know if this is intentional or not, but a little screw right here. You can see it's kind of off, but that's alright, because like one, his head's not going to be flying all over the place, and two, it's just like, come on, it's not that serious. He feels like I could take a sledgehammer and hit him in the chest with it and be completely fine, plastic included. Like, his plastic's very thick, and I can see like someone having a very difficult time trying to break this. This is very good plastic, and just compare that sound. That's better plastic than Exterminator's flamethrower. So, you know, that's an indicator. Now, there is one issue, and one issue alone, and it's the paint. The paint on the face is super good. It looks like a very disgruntled, unkempt human face that's being worn by a robot. But then you get down to like the chest, and there's a lot of like, there's metal marks on where the scathing's supposed to be. This is supposed to be muscle tissue. The metal's okay, but you know, I don't expect much from a metal paint job. And then you get to the hand. The hand's definitely the worst case of you know, bad paint. Cause like, I mean, look at that. That's, but nobody's gonna be seeing that. Foot's pretty good, and I love the paint on here because it implies that like the inside of his arm cooks the blade so he can slice through stuff easier. That's such a good detail, and so I don't mind the paint on this, but like on the chest, it's definitely very apparent that somebody just like slapped this together and then sent it off. But again, it's just like, it's not that big of a deal when like he's just such a marvel to look at. There's so much going on with him. And, you know, there's lights in his chest, lights in his knocked out eye and his arm. Even veins. He's got, like, EL wire veins, which I think is super interesting. At least I think they're supposed to be veins, but, like, if they're supposed to be veins, this is such a good detail. Either that or, like, hydraulic tubes or, like, coolant tubes. I'm looking a bit too much into this, but I love doing that. So I think without further ado, I'll display his two different settings. He's got three settings, of course one of them is off, but one of them is just a lights only setting. And as you can see, he doesn't run off a motion sensor in this setting, but he just stays on. All of his lights are on. Here's the chest lights, the scanner eye, the veins, as I was talking about. These are super cool. And then, like, the blade getting cooked by like a flame inside the arm. That's just so cool. I never thought that they would give such an acute detail, but, like, man, if they didn't do it good. Like, you could tell this is supposed to be, like, something's burning in there. It's just awesome. And let me turn him on his sensor mode, which, of course, is the best part about him, because, you know why.
I have been sent to exterminate you weak humans. Nothing will get between me and my objective, for that is my programming. It is pointless to resist. We are superior. Halt. You are an unknown intruder in this sector. Scanning for identification. Searching. Searching complete. You are approved for extermination. Stand by. Thank you for your cooperation. Have a nice day. We may look similar, but our intellects are incomparable, foolish human. Ha, ha. You cannot hide from us. Scanning for life form. Target identified. Your resistance will only extend your suffering. Upgrade and join us. I will make you like me. Of evolution to arrive at this point in humanity, the next logical step.
Do you want me to pour water? So yeah, there he is. THD 3000 from the Home Depot, also known as Cold Hate, which is an objectively better name, and I hate you if you don't call him that. 10 out of 10. Like, a genuine 10 out of 10. I don't think there will be a better retail animatronic than this in, like, the next, like, 5 years. He's such a unique character, out of the box. Like, when you think Halloween, you might think robots. But, like, those regular box ones with, like, the weird, like, diode ears and the, like, TV head. But this is, like, Terminator, RoboCop, Fallout kind of stuff. And I love it. He's so sick, and he pairs perfectly with Exterminator. And it's just, I cannot express it. For $140 too. That's pretty good. And even his base price is fine, because Grimm was $280 too. This is $280, and it's just so much more in the same package, at least in terms of price. There's just more to look at, more hype, more phrases, more everything. It's just awesome, and I can't express that enough. So thanks for watching this review, and I'll not catch you next time in the next animatronic review, because this is my last one, but man, if it ain't worth it for the last one. See ya.